As of the late 2000s, we have seen a massive switch of attention from the masses when it comes to vehicles, and the culprit is the electronic vehicle, otherwise known as the EV. Today, late 2023, we have many laws and policies in the waiting line in Congress trying to eradicate the use of regular gasoline vehicles and pushing us further into what some consider is the future. The force for these new vehicles is detrimental to society as we know it today, and I want to show you why I think the world is not ready for this step in progression, as people would love to believe it is, and that we would not force electronic vehicles. These new policies trying to be passed by people in Congress are very American or first world ideas that could only work in said first world countries. Many factors are not put into factor when trying to push this ideal. People see green, new progressive ideas and think that they are saving the earth and neglect that many countries that are in the process of urbanization but have taken a longer time than the Americans to succeed in fully urbanizing their land. Mexico, one of the biggest importers, relies on the mileage that not only gas but diesel vehicles produce, as there is hundreds and thousands of miles of bare land and desert between cities. A Tesla Freightliner wouldn't make it even half of the distance of a regular semi truck. Imagine an electric semi running out of charge in the middle of the Sonoran Desert. Yikes. The same goes for the average Mexican with any vehicle. Charging a Tesla requires at least 70 kilowatt hours. A Frontiers article says the calculated median monthly energy consumption of Mexican urban households is 453 kilowatt hours and is dominated by gas consumption. And in America, the average house used 890 kilowatt hours monthly. It would be asking too much for people to charge their vehicles in their homes, as they do not use electricity as Americans are used to using. When making an electric vehicle, you must put into perspective that the great majority of these EVs are made with software that is always changing, with updates made through connection to the internet. The great majority of the vehicles on the road today have certain software too, but said software can be managed with minimal tools that the great majority of mechanics and even regular people have access to. An EV with this new software requires you to go to a dealership or a mechanic with training in new vehicles. And since there are little to none of these mechanics, the prices of repairs could be astronomical. They could ask you for whatever they want, anytime they want, which would not only be detrimental to the average driver, but also to those who make a living fixing vehicles. The same software used for vehicles are an issue also, since most software is penetrable in every case. It does not take very much to breach the security of even the biggest companies on earth, which happens often. In an article, Ivan Castillo said, "The risks of software crashes and privacy breaches are real issues. It's not outside of the realm of possibility for someone with malicious intentions to take over the operation of a car and cause damage. That could mean any risk of driving is already. It is not very assuring when it comes to safety." To further the notion that forcing everyone to switch to EVs is a bad idea, we can't forget the fact that vehicles are too new. Why would them being new be a problem? We have worked with internal combustion engines for almost 200 years now. We have technology to make these vehicles anything we want: strong, reliable, long-lasting. We, as well as the rest of the world, have had our eyes focused on bettering the internal combustion engine, and the rest of the world relies on a good deal in Americans when it comes to vehicles. Switching up and forcing this new ideal wouldn't give the rest of the world much time to change and adapt to the plans. Amy Pitchy from CBS News says, "The research comes on the heels of CR's findings that EVs have 80% more problems and are generally less reliable than cars with conventional internal combustion engines." Reliability is something that manufacturers have spent almost the last 200 years perfecting. To the rest of the world that is a few or many years behind us, such as third world countries, this would be a push that they could not be able to handle. Forcing in ideas such as outlawing gas diesel vehicles and making everyone get EVs is in turn not the greatest idea. And when it comes to the US, we have a heavy hand in influence for the rest of the world. The number of miles an electric vehicle runs, the insufficient safety and software used in most of vehicles, and reliability that EVs lack are amongst the many reasons why we should think twice before stopping the production of gas and diesel vehicles. As a big influence on the world, the USA can set the world in a direction, whether it be bad or good, and even if many choose not to believe it, it is in the American hands to decide the future when it comes to the vehicle industry.